Attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of Axe Ministry, Axe Media Group, and/or their affiliate and subordinate ministries and/or nonprofits. We're live on YouTube.
Is that your feedback?
Huh?
Was that your feedback?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yes, it was. It was. Good morning. Coming to you live from Axe Media Group headquarters here in beautiful Springfield, Missouri. It's the Morning Drive with Matt and Jay with your hosts, Matt and Jay, and Johnny Rooster. Johnny's going to be doing his first hour-long program today. Nice. All right, figured out the YouTube situation.
Okay. So you're back to YouTubery.
Yes, YouTubery. That's a good way to do it. You ever go tubing? Or as Dr. Paul would say, be like a rube on YouTube, which I don't know what a rube is. It's probably an old guy thing.
Rubik's Cube.
Do you know what a rube is?
No. I'm the old guy and I don't know.
All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Morning Drive with Matt and Jay. My name is Matt.
My name is Jay.
Johnny Rooster.
We're glad to have everybody on board with us today. It's party time. Today's topic, don't forget to recharge your batteries.
Did you forget?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh.
That's a, well, that,
I don't know if
yes.
that's a recent experience.
That is. My watch. I forgot to put it on the charger.
Some people don't wear watches anymore.
But it's also metaphorical.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is my smartwatch. I didn't realize how much I used it until, I don't have it.
I've been thinking about a watch that would not need to be recharged, or a phone, for that matter. Elon Musk, get on there.
Yeah.
Create
like
the eternal battery.
using static electricity.
Yes, just to self-recharge.
Kinetic energy.
Exactly. So I'm thinking this century we should have had that by now.
We should have.
Yeah.
We should have.
The eternal battery.
Did they change Facebook again?
Yes.
Oh, man. They're changing everything. We just get used to it. Okay, so I figured out the situation with...
Changes.
Just when you thought it was safe.
Faces, changes. And don't want to be...
Rock and roller.
If you keep singing, they're gonna have to pay you.
They're gonna mute it out. What are we talking about?
Pay you
They're
for
gonna have
that.
to pay us.
Yeah, because they're gonna be so impressed with your endorsement.
Good morning, Larry Melton, Steve Schultz. Welcome back. We didn't see you on here yesterday, so we're glad to see you there. Be sure and like and share these videos. Like and share.
Like and share.
Like.
Not for lack of sharing.
I'm liking. I'm commenting. Leave a comment.
Yes.
Yeah. Be like, hey, what's up?
Friendly or otherwise.
I confused Dr. Wilkie yesterday because, whenever I start a watch party, I send invites to at least 100 people.
Confused buyers don't buy.
Yeah, well, he was like, what happened? I get on there, and it was your show, The Drive. And he's, okay, so let me preface this by letting you know that Dr. Robert Wilkie is, in fact, Canadian.
A.
And I like how he says again. He says it again.
Again. So what about the Canadian?
Oh, it threw him off because did you do a new caricature of yourself?
I did.
Were you not satisfied with the other one?
I was thinking it was a little bit too delicate. In other words, the size was a little small and delicate was the eyes.
Delicate was the eyes?
I looked a little delicate. So I looked a little more frantic in this new version.
More frantic.
Yeah, a little more urgent.
Okay.
So past delicacy.
The idea was to be more urgent and less delicate.
More urgent.
Because the rooster is not delicate. So
he's not delicate.
You ever seen, man,
I'd
roosters
rather be
are
a little
mean.
bit out there instead of a little bit back there.
Right. Well, frantic, wouldn't that mean that you went from delicate to
urgent?
Urgent. So that's more
persistent.
Delicate than delicate.
It's a little
that's already
less
broken.
Delicate, yeah.
Urgent.
Delicate was a little too fragile for my qualities. You don't want you don't want to break if you fall.
So who are you voting for this year?
Oh, who am I? I got a hat on, guys, in case you didn't see that.
That's it's
going to be huge.
It's huge.
Huge. It's huge.
It's very big. It's very good.
So that's fine.
It was like
I got coronavirus in 6 minutes. I was over that stuff.
Yeah.
That's just for sissies. We get over the
What was it? Did he really say?
I get over the Chinese flu in 6 minutes.
Doctors said that they'd never seen anybody's body fight it like mine did. They said they looked.
There's nobody except Arnold that might be even close.
He said
nobody.
The doctors took a look and found out I don't have DNA. I have USA.
Did he say that? Right?
It's just red, white, and blue cells.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got red, white, and blue cells just flowing through my body today.
That is too funny.
Amen. God bless America.
Amen. I'm agree.
I
funny.
love that we can look over in our corner, this corner, not necessarily that one. That looks navy blue to me. Is it? It could be black.
No, that is navy blue.
If it is blue, then we got red, we got white, and we got blue. So I'm happy.
Me too.
Red, white, and blue cells.
Share this with Pugs the Miser.
Cells.
Blood cells are red, white, platelets. Red count.
Did you hear that?
I heard it.
I did too.
That was weird.
Well, I don't know if they heard it. Did you hear that? Did you look at that?
Interesting.
What are we looking at?
Did you hear that?
I did.
I hear Jay. Fiddling.
Well, I mean, you guys. I mean, I know I'm not
Fiddler
here.
on the roof.
It may just be some sort of weird staticky, backety stuff.
I was expecting your son today.
Yes, I was too. They decided they would leave early because they don't want to arrive late.
Good morning, Kevin.
Well, that makes sense. Kevin. Who's
Larry.
Kevin?
Kevin Saxon.
Kevin Saxon. Welcome to the party.
As much fun as we have here, they wanted to get to Colorado before it was really late.
Today's topic is don't forget to recharge your batteries, and I'm saying that in the literal sense as well as in the metaphorical.
I've got one of those rare phones now that has a detachable battery.
That is a rare phone.
So normally you don't get access to your battery anymore in the new forms of phones. So this one, I can take it out, and I have 3 or 4 of them because it's just on its last legs.
And you don't have another.
The last one that Dad had.
What I had was a port that plugs in, and it's damaged from water.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to use the other charger.
So you put it in another phone?
I put it in another phone, and then I also put it in a regular battery charger. I have 2 chargers going and 5 batteries going. So talking about recharge your batteries, that's what I do continuously.
Right.
I usually have 2 to 3 backup batteries.
Yeah. Plus you use your phone a lot.
I don't always need them, but sometimes I do. I do use it a lot. I do a lot of live.
Facebook
Live, like I'm doing now.
You're just hanging in there. You just determined not to get a new phone.
I'm not able to get a new phone immediately, but it will happen soon.
Ridiculously expensive.
But I've got a plan that's got beyond unlimited for data, and so you can just use data 24/7. It's already paid for. And I live in a valley where I don't get Wi-Fi, so paying for Wi-Fi gives me a little worse results than just using a hotspot or using the 4G. That's about what I use.
4G?
Yeah, that's what I get.
That's a lot of Gs.
Full gig. Yeah, the 4G network.
So
batteries, they're important.
They are very important. I'm almost done here.
There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, in my world, so I keep
now your son,
changing
we
it up.
spoke with him.
My kids were here.
We spoke with him. He's stationed in Italy. Is he going back?
He is. He's going to be in Colorado for a week and then go on back.
Okay. So, did he have to quarantine for 2 weeks before he came home?
Before he came here?
Yeah.
No.
No.
But they lit up the country red, which means you can't travel outside Italy. Right about the same day that he left.
Oh wow.
He got away just in time. Now, he may not be able to return. He'd be stationed in Colorado for a while.
Cool.
I know I'm not the only one hearing that.
Is that good?
Staticky stuff.
It's always good to have a different assignment and you get out of your routine, and you shake it up. But he's got a lot of connections over there. He's the place where people go and gather.
Yeah.
And his part of the military base, the barracks there, his quad, that's where everybody hangs out.
Pod.
I think it's a pod.
So is he like you in character, in his personality?
Somewhat. I mean, not everybody's the same, but he's got a very specific mind.
Mistakenly serious?
He's not as emotional. In fact, he's a different kind of person. He takes.
You're emotional?
He's empathetic, but he learned empathy. He said he physically had to mimic emotions when he was 14 and 15. And
Huh.
now people come to him because they believe he's an empath. He's empathetic, but he had to learn it. He truly is, but he doesn't genuinely own the emotion of empathy until he learned it.
Well,
So he has to go through a process, like
Yeah,
a
which
detailed, like a
I can cry at movies, and he's just kind of rock solid kind of person.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to cry.
Is it?
I
Yeah.
never, I never cry.
It's hard for my wife to cry.
I never cry. Ever.
I cry when this is what's ironic.
I cried
cry,
once.
Oh,
And
yeah?
that doctor was sorry.
That doctor was sorry.
Was it when he smacked your behind?
Yes. That was it.
I
Do
cry.
they don't do that anymore.
I cry
No.
at emotional. I get emotional about history. I can actually empathize with the dying soldiers on the battlefield.
Yeah.
It can be pretty
That's an
tough to
unusual
be.
thing to cry about. For most
good morning,
people.
Uncle Ray.
They don't identify like that.
Yeah, true. Well, in regards to recharging our batteries, so your son came. So your son came home from Italy, essentially to recharge his batteries, right?
Yes, he had not been to the States in 15 months.
Oh,
He
wow.
has just turned 20 in June, so
Hey, Steve-O, Mickey
he'd been
Mac.
gone since July of last year.
He's so young.
With all the COVID and everything, it kept him from traveling. He was intending to be back in May.
Yeah, that
He
didn't
has
happen.
2 cousins that were getting married, and nothing worked out in May. And it was a surprise visit this time, because obviously we didn't.
And so he just
expect
showed
it.
up.
He was working on the paperwork for a couple months to get it approved.
What a wonderful surprise that had to be.
And his older brother, who lives in Colorado, was in on it with him, and they
Morning,
were
Janine.
working it out.
I've got my little watch.
He
party
said
going
goodbye
on.
yesterday to me because I knew he wouldn't be here this morning.
Thank you for sharing the videos. We appreciate that. Please continue to share them.
Yes, that's a good
Who
way to
shared what?
promote. You
Yeah.
share. These are listeners, viewers sharing the video.
I got a notification that people had been sharing the video.
Was it the Pugs of Missouri or whatever?
We can't do this alone, and the message
Nope,
is
we can't.
important. This Acts ministry is a very specific operation. It's not like other ministries.
No.
And it definitely reaches a different audience.
Yeah.
I just realized that light is not on.
It isn't on.
It's going to
But it
drive
probably
me nuts.
should be because now Jay's in the dark. He looks tan today, and
He
now
does.
he looks brighter. He looks brighter.
Look at him.
If you were watching just a few minutes
I'm
ago,
pretty bright.
do you notice the difference that Jay is brighter than he was a minute ago?
Yeah, and also,
Put that in your comments.
I love how he has his jacket that matches his skin. What was that?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
That for?
That's one of those.
Thank you, Janine. Appreciate it. She shared the post.
I say hello to my crowd here. Kevin Patterson.
Kevin Patterson.
Kevin Patterson is an educator.
KP, what's up?
Works up at the Southwest Baptist University in Bolivar, Missouri.
SBU. Nice. I dig acronyms.
He was part of the Ozark school system prior to that. Good morning.
The OSS.
Steve McAllister said he's
My
getting ready
lovely
for
wife
a
is watching.
virtual convention,
And of
but
course,
return on Monday.
Steve says, hey, Johnny.
somebody named Peterson is watching, but if I had glasses on.
Peterson.
Dana Peterson, specifically. Dana, good morning.
Good morning, Dana. Welcome to the party. We're
And
glad to have you
I
with
can't
us.
see your name on the screen until I see your name on the screen this way.
Do you want me to hold it like back here?
You know
way back
what?
here so you can
I
read
wanted
it?
to tell you something about interactive audiences.
Uh-huh.
My son from Colorado on this visit was able to share about a man on the internet that interacts with his audience by playing a video game. That's a common thing, but
Yep.
what this individual does is he actually responds in real time to hundreds of people. The game is a background. He's not good at the game. He's just playing the game on the screen, but
Right.
he's talking to people. He's asking questions about, what about that music show? What about this? Tell me more. I'm intrigued. The people love him and they pay him.
Yeah,
getting
Twitch.
He's getting a lot of Twitch money. Have you heard about that?
I watched a guy
This guy's
that
getting hundreds of dollars.
one of his viewers
Every
or maybe
hour.
the same guy. This kid, one of his viewers talked about how his wife left him, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, what? and he stopped the game. He said that game doesn't matter right now, and he's like, "Let's talk about this."
Yes.
And he took time to
Is it
talk.
the guy
to
you're talking about?
Could
I
be
don't
the
know.
same
Could be
guy.
the same guy.
Yeah, he's got a huge following on
He's
Twitch.
like that. This game is nothing. This we need to. The game's not important right now. He said we need to talk to you.
What is a Twitch?
Twitch is a streaming. It's a kind of like Netflix or whatever, or any of the other streaming platforms. But it's basically just a bunch of people streaming video of themselves playing video games and interacting with people and talk like what we do. Imagine what we do
With a video game.
with a video game.
I was curious if the non-video game audience would also gravitate to that format, because that's where I
They
would
do.
I would like to be able to start something like that and interact with a large audience, a growing audience. So they do. You say? Do you know of another non-gaming format on Twitch?
No, there's. I mean, it's not a non-gaming format, but like I meant people, non-gaming people watch it.
Yes. Yes. So it usually, or to me, it always has the background of a game, a video game.
I tried the online games. I always
Yeah,
get distracted.
I'm not a gamer, but
Destroyed.
I think
Destructed.
what's intriguing is that you can actually get an audience, grow an audience, and find an audience loyal to you and willing to pay you because they love your interaction. It's not about the content of the game; it's the interaction.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, I know that's. I
It's a
think it's
virtual
very
social
important to
circle.
interact with the people that comment on our stuff.
that's
here.
why I would love to have a live call if that's possible. I don't even know if it is.
We've tried that before, and it just didn't. It just didn't take off. And that doesn't mean we're not going to ever try it again.
What
Okay.
didn't take off?
Taking
when we
a
had
live
people
call,
calling
if
in.
somebody had a question or something specific to the content of the show,
Yeah.
is it possible to add that feature?
Yeah, we got Skype and a Skype number.
So to me, that might be an interesting extra dimension. Johnny Rooster Morning Mouth is my slot, so I want to put different
Today.
elements. Yeah, we've got this coming up at 9.
9 to 10.
9 to 10.
And I'd like to thinking about doing something in front of the curtain because I want a close thing and I want the hand things, and I've got some ideas that are close, not distant, and I don't
You mean
think.
for today?
Well, not necessarily.
Oh, I was
just
gonna say.
thinking. I'm just thinking. I think that we should put it in a little different environment.
Could we do it today?
Could we?
Man, that's really just. I mean, last second.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Kind of like getting coffee.
yeah.
So what's on your mind, Matt?
Nothing.
Yeah, what's going
What do you
on?
mean? I'm just no. I mean, we could try it. It'll just
Well, I'm
end
just
up.
thinking because that's like so
So we're transitioning.
you had your mind going in a flow,
Yeah.
like a direction.
Oh, it's gone
and
now.
then all of a
Whatever
sudden
it
it's
is.
like somebody jams the pencil down on the page and goes.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's, well, I mean, I don't even remember what I was talking about.
We were talking about
Recharging your
doing it in
batteries.
front of the camera, doing it in front of the.
That didn't sound good.
See, I told you I'm not hearing things. No,
was
it's been
static.
doing that this whole entire
Had
show.
static earlier, but not now.
It's almost like a static discharge or something. You know what I mean?
I feel like that every time there's a storm.
So
Like a static discharge.
I think that's what's going on.
You think that's what's
Move.
going on with storms?
Did you touch? Did it? No, it
No,
didn't
didn't do nothing, didn't do
snap,
nothing.
crackle, or
I'm not good at
Something's
gaming, but
discharging
give me a pinball game. Look out! That's what Steve Schultz says.
Pinball, yeah.
Well, I'm thinking there's something to that mindset of engaging your audience on a real time format. Now, let's think about this because we could do that with what kind of tweaks? Because we don't have to have a game. The game could be the format of communication. Hey, every
ping pong. We could do it with ping pong.
well, okay. At this time of day, they're going to interact with something.
Yeah.
And that would be cool, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Because-
You've got floods of ideas here, Johnny.
I think this is working. This guy, I'm serious, he's making thousands of dollars a day. I'm not making that up. That's a
No.
small thing. He does it, and he stops people from paying him. He says, you're giving me too many credit points. Stop doing that. I don't need you to do that. Just talk to me. He loves his audience. They
Yeah.
love him. It's reciprocal. It's not even in a
That's a big
Christian.
word.
It's not a religious environment. It's still going on real world. People need something. They need someone to talk to.
yeah.
I feel like I've got to open up to somebody. My son feels the same way. Everybody in the world has somebody they want to open up to. Why not do it on a regular slot?
Yeah, where it's expected. I think it's weird. Like I'm an odd duck. I'm at work. I see a bunch of people socializing and stuff. I try
He's
to
a
listen
quackhead.
to try to learn learn what it means to be social these days.
I'm
2
with
seconds and I'm out. I'm like, what?
you. Yeah.
What are you guys talking about? It doesn't.
Yeah.
You know. For me. It's
What
it's,
are they talking about?
Yeah, it's
Do you
difficult.
know?
It's difficult to understand how socializing works in our new environment.
Yes, it feels different.
It is different. Yes, it is very different.
It's not.
Well, I've always been kind of odd that way. I have a very small circle of very close friends, and that's usually how my world works.
Well, if you have a difference in the culture, and you're watching this now, how do you communicate socially?
Yeah, because you see so many people are doing it successfully. I mean, as a group, like you see a lot of people at one workplace who are all in some way socializing and interacting with each other successfully, look forward to each other's interactions.
I've noticed that there's some work environments where people are a club.
But then I try to listen to it to find some sort of, you know.
Is that coming through to you guys, or is that something that's in the headphone?
That's
I
a
get it.
discharge of some sort of static electricity.
Is it because is it going to storm or something?
No, it's not.
It's too
outside.
humid probably for that, but
It is humid.
it's probably a loose mic. There's probably a mic that has.
Good morning, Brittany.
So Johnny, if you grab this around the collar like that and turn it clockwise.
Like this here, like you tightening it. No.
Did you get anything out of it?
It was a little bit looser than
That's
it
enough.
could have been.
That's probably it.
But there it goes
Yeah.
again.
How about these?
I've already checked all mine. Just,
Maybe this one?
maybe that one. Maybe this.
We're on a hunt.
And how about your connection to your...
Everything here is fine.
This one's good. Nothing wrong with it.
Rings.
All right.
It's all
Well,
about your rings.
Yeah, this is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. This one was a wedding ring that my dad bought. It is tungsten, and it did not fit him, and it fits me now. So
tungsten.
The rings. Yesterday,
So-
I got up and was in line at 7:30 in the morning for the DMV.
oh, that's fun.
They open at 8:30. I was second in line.
What a blast.
Now that's an hour wait. So there was this mother and daughter. I said, "Come on and sit down." So we started
Morning, Brittany.
talking. An older lady showed up. Then my wife showed up because she'd been in the car making a call. We were all together, and we became a community right there. The four of us. Five
Continue.
of us. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
5. The five of us made a community because of me. I decided instead of just ignoring them and playing on my phone or pretending to not see the people around me, I decided to invite them in socially. You have to deliberately do that. Because if somebody's in an environment where they're waiting in line and they don't have something,
That's doing a lot more, Matt.
that's the one. You
Whatever
found
that
it.
was.
It doesn't.
Oh, it could have
Sounds-
just been a coincidence.
Could have been.
Because I unmuted it and then muted it back.
It
I
may
don't
just
know.
need cleaned.
I don't hear anything yet. But
Mm.
we have to break that bubble, and we have to give ourselves and the other people around them permission. Here's an example. The ladies were standing.
That did something.
I'll just talk to the camera.
So,
They were standing, and I just said, "Have a seat." I said that because it's awkward to come sit near a stranger. Socially, you have boundaries
Yeah.
in your mind, and you don't break the boundaries. So I had to break the boundary for them and say, "Come on and sit down. It's going to be a long wait." They were good with that. They wanted to sit down.
Yeah.
I would be awkward if they stood. I would be awkward if I stood up and said, "You take my seat." They would feel awkward about that.
right.
So you can't just throw it in because it's polite.
So you're just like,
It's a bench.
Have a seat.
It's a bench. So there was a wooden bench. That was our physical space.
Ah.
It was enough for 4 people to sit, but you'd have to be cozy.
yeah.
So I invited them to sit on their end. An older lady showed up, felt invited. This is what's good about psychology in your mind. She felt warm because we were talking, and she sat in the middle, which breaks the rules. She broke the rules because I had already
love
given
breaking
permission.
rules.
We gave them permission to get closer. Everybody was masked up. It's outside. I'm not wearing a mask. They are. That's the rooster. It's outside. I'm not wearing a mask. I'm dangerous. I'm
edgy. You're living on the edge, bro.
I'm edgy. So
the edge.
everybody's masked up. Well, before the session was over, my wife came over and she's sitting on my lap. The other lady's next to me. The older lady, today is her birthday. She's 72 years old today. She's missing an index finger from an accident on the job many years ago. We were talking about that. The other lady works at a hair salon, and she's very attractive, and her daughter's getting her first license. So that was this setup. So 4 different kinds of people. Really interesting.
Yeah.
We were talking about the mom and her tattoos and what they mean. We're talking about the girl, and she's number 3 out of 5 kids getting their license. We're talking about this lady who lost her finger in an accident, and we're talking about Elvis. We're talking about pop culture. Everything was flowing, and I gave them a copy of my book that I wrote. So we just bonded, and I gave them a copy of my novel. They were loving this. This was a bonding moment. We didn't want to leave. When the door opened at 8:30, we felt let down because we were so enjoying that moment.
Yeah.
This is Strangers.
It's a beautiful
We got Morning J.R. Miller, Brittany
like
Dalton.
That. Anybody can connect like that.
It is.
Janine says, we all need each other to recharge. Steve Schultz says, my wife tells me I'll talk to it. Hang on. I'll talk to a tree.
What would it, yeah.
Johnny, so you just started this thing at the DMV
That's
while everybody was waiting to go
There's
in.
a picture of it on my on my Facebook and Instagram accounts. It shows a picture of this group because I said, do you mind if I get a picture of all of us? And I didn't do a selfie with them, but I stepped back and said, all right, on 3, lower your masks. And the younger ones lowered their masks, and the older lady, nothing. She may not have heard me, but it's hilarious. I said 2 out of 3 ain't bad, and they all laughed. My wife and I were not wearing masks.
Right.
Just wanted you guys to hear that because I want you to hear the different types of people. Remember this. Some people are masked people and some people aren't, and usually they don't get along that well. Today we decided we have one more wall of division. Yesterday at the DMV, there was no division. We were together.
You were all in it together.
Tearing down
You
the
see
wall.
that? That's a dynamic of humanity.
It's amazing what wait lines will do.
Normally I avoid lines and I get away from it. Now I'm going to think about that again and think opportunity.
Yeah.
And quit trying to be the first in line or
A lot
be
of times,
annoyed
Get
by
out
the
as
line.
quickly
a
as
lot of
possible.
times, if you start talking to somebody in a really nice way, they look at you like you grew 2 heads
Yes.
and a tongue with a big diamond on it or something.
But really, it does just take the right opportunity at the right moment. Like you said, I think the key was that they wanted to sit.
Embrace
Right?
it, Janine
Yes,
says.
and so I worked with human behavior.
To
You got to work with
invite
their
them.
behavior and say, come on, sit down.
Right. Right. But if you'd have just started talking to them,
They would have been weirded out
yeah.
because people push away from somebody too forward.
So you have to give something
That's true.
useful and valuable
I used to make sure that I'd talk to everybody in a movie theater, like
during
before
the movie.
No, not during. People get pretty mad
Yeah,
when I do
you
that.
wouldn't be a good.
I learned that from
How do
experience.
you know people get mad when you do that?
Well, Jay, let me tell you a story about I was 16 years old, and I went on a date with my girlfriend at the time. I was 16 or 17. I was 16. And we went and saw that Romeo and Juliet movie, with Leo DiCaprio and whatever the lady's name was.
We just got that from the library.
And it was a matinee. I was the only male in there. And I was surrounded by females. And they all started, I guess jokingly, because there's a guy in there, they were all jokingly talking about what's wrong with men today and this, that, and the other. And I said, well, you know what's wrong with men today? Women. And I should have held up a bucket and got all
The free candy?
got all the free candy and
Flowers.
popcorn that they were throwing at me. It was pretty funny. I think some of them were really upset about it, but I mean that is a good movie if you've never seen it. But
Only the ones who know that you
My
like.
wife picked it off the shelf. I would never have looked at that movie.
I
But
it's
don't
actually
mind.
really cool.
I'm going to watch it.
It's actually really you'll like it. It's a really cool movie.
Her assessment of
action
it,
movie.
it's got Leonardo DiCaprio in it. That's all she said about it. There was no other conversation.
It's an action movie. Did you know that?
I
It's an
didn't know.
action.
I thought it was a cheesy romance.
It is a cheesy romance.
action
But it's
romance.
action. Okay.
Yeah. So it's It's kind of like if my likes of movies
We
and
won't
Jay's
spoil
like,
the ending.
Don't ruin the plot.
but Romeo and Juliet both die in the end.
No, you're
What?
kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
I just heard Abraham Lincoln was shot.
Claire Danes.
I
Oh,
just-
did you?
It's terrible.
That's
That is
terrible.
Do you remember him? I liked
Angela
him.
Annie Anzani,
That's good in
Anziano.
black and
Sorry,
white.
I can't. I have a hard time
I
saying
mean, of all
it.
the good people,
I
that
didn't
were-
see a lot of good color.
But it's good to see
pictures
it.
of
Welcome
him.
to
No.
the party.
A lot of
Probably
good
not.
black and whites.
Yes, a lot of like.
You like black and white movies?
No, I just thought Lincoln was into him.
But in black and white, into
He
black
was
and white
more
movies.
into black and white images. The way his pictures look. I
Yeah.
can't, I don't see him in a red suit.
Yeah.
He didn't do the red stuff.
No, I think he was.
More black and gray and white.
I'm pretty sure, from what I understand, I mean, it's black. He always wore black.
Turning this into the Rooster Show.
Who knows though?
You know,
the
I don't.
photos
what?
don't give it away.
Somebody knows, but they're not alive. My logical mind says
They're taking
somebody
it to
knows.
they took it to their grave.
Yeah. So it's
Andrew Johnson knows.
Andrew Johnson.
The vice president who became president because Lincoln was assassinated.
Oh,
Think about
man.
how unpopular that would be.
Oh,
You
man.
know, that would be a nightmare. Like you wake up and all of a sudden one day, you know, you hear that because I'm pretty sure they were friends.
Well, no,
Well,
they
it's an
weren't.
important
They
truth,
weren't
too, though.
friends. He was a Southerner, and they picked him on purpose to unite the nation.
Right.
And they hated each other.
Hated each other.
Good morning, Cheryl Summit. Welcome to the
What a
party. We're talking about
disaster.
recharging batteries today.
Don't
But
give
it's
me
a-
on history. Don't get me started.
Don't get you started.
Don't start history.
You still have an hour of stuff that we've got to do.
Shut up.
Next.
We was talking about that yesterday about how history. You know, Matt made the comment and it set me off, and that hurt his feelings.
It set me off.
They say history is written by the victors, and I said it's not true. History is written by historians.
Amen. And sometimes those people are pretty prejudiced, though.
They are sometimes,
But,
but
not
also,
always. But not always.
No, but not always. Well, for everyone that is prejudiced, there's another who has the opposite prejudice.
And that's why they
we-
yin and yang. They balance each
And
other.
over time, I think history does become more accurate because people dig and look and
I
try
like
to.
that.
Well, you know, if that's true, then why this?
You take the Bible, for example. They found the Dead Sea Scrolls. There's a lot of content and meaning, Hebrew and Greek wise, that wasn't really inflected. They were deliberate. King James was very. I'm not against the King James Bible, by the way.
Yeah.
King
Me
James
either.
had a big issue with divorce because he was into that. He had that issue, but there
Didn't
was
want-
some
yeah.
other stuff going on.
He also hated his brother.
Other people had issues, so those kind of got reflected in some of the terms. Not that it's prejudice; it's just
Like, don't hate your brother without a cause.
there you go.
I heard he had that added, the without a cause.
Yes, so that's
because
what I
he
mean,
had a
there's-
cause and he hated his brother.
Yeah.
So
and he
didn't-
wanted to justify it.
He wanted to justify.
So you have to really watch the original intent versus what people want you to hear.
Right. So there's a continuity about the Bible that describes the character of God, what He created this earth to, how He created the earth for us to live in it, and how He wants us to relate to one another and to Him, and that's a relationship that's supposed to be complete in its, in its
Yeah.
construction. But He, I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, it's true. You don't want your audience to be tailored to you. You want it to be tailored to the original.
The truth, yeah.
Like
want
if
them
it's
to be
history,
tailored to each
you
other.
want it to be original.
But if you try to take that, statement, do not be angry with your brother without a cause, or do not hate your brother without a cause. If you're really searching for God in the Word of God and searching for His Word and what He wants and expects of us, that will omit itself anyway.
That is.
But Jesus says, love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah, so once you start to put the rest of it together,
Pray for
and
those
say,
who
wait a
persecute
minute.
you.
So you're supposed to love an enemy, but it's okay to hate your brother with a cause. Well, your enemy is your enemy because of the causes.
Right.
So why can't you just so it starts to fall apart when you start to do that, put things in there or change things. But when you look at the character of God and what His point and His purpose for us was, that makes a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
Which we don't really know.
no.
I mean, we can only think that if we are made in His image, if we were in His place, why would we have done? Why would we have created? Right?
Yeah.
True.
So the Beatitudes.
Why would we have given it free will so that it could look different than what the utopian picture
Right.
would be? Why would he do that? Well,
Yeah.
you start taking away free will and you start making things perfect, and you find out kind of quickly how dull.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that tragedy and all the grief and difficulty and struggle in life is what makes it good and interesting, because it's nice to have things go really well sometimes.
Exactly.
But at the same time, it's like you don't know things that are beautiful until you see until things that are ugly. If everything was beautiful,
It would all be.
It would be
you wouldn't know
meaningless.
the difference.
You
That's
wouldn't
like
have any meaning.
You don't know what hot is without cold, and cold is without hot.
That is true.
Yeah.
And it
This is
talks.
for you.
What is that?
That's a clip for my program. In fact, it's a USB port.
A clip for.
It's a flash drive. You can put it in.
it's a clip.
It's a 7.5-minute video clip.
Oh, of who?
It's of our puppets, of you and me.
Oh.
So we can watch it anytime, repeatedly. I mean, it's your property first.
So are we
It's
playing
Axe
this
Media
today?
Group. Yeah.
Awesome.
So that can go wherever you need it to go. It takes a few minutes to transfer if you're doing it off of that stick, off that flash drive.
It'd be really
but
good once we get the
leave
new
it on.
equipment involved. We'll be able to have like a computer screen plugged into as a source.
So I didn't know how you were going to, if you had to transfer that or if you just
I do.
plug it in and use it or whatever.
I do have to transfer it.
So I'm giving you, takes about 5 minutes to transfer.
This is heavy. It feels like a
It's from-
domino.
It's a Chinese blend right there. A friend from China gave it to me. And that's not a virus.
No, I didn't think so.
It's a flash drive.
I see the not
You
work.
see that?
involved.
Yeah, that's very Chinese.
It's very.
I really have enjoyed my connections with some international students. They attended MSU, and
That's heavy. That's really.
they gave me a flash drive and a little
It's because it's full of lead.
tourism kit. What do you call them? Souvenir
It's full
Goodwill.
of lead dust.
It's a souvenir.
Because God truly loves us is why we have free will. And choice, you cannot force people to love. That's true. That's true.
You can lead a horse to
would
water.
you really want to be forced to love him? No.
No.
And I mean, I think of it this way. Okay, so anybody that loves me, do I want them to love me because they have to, or because they truly love? Or
Have chosen to.
yeah, because it comes a point though. If it's forced love, it's not love; it's tolerance.
Well, that's why also God instructs us to focus on the good things. And he tells us what good things are. So in any person, no matter how bad they are, you can see some good somewhere in them. And
See,
that
Steve?
encourages that. It waters that seed.
It does.
And encourages it. People, even if they're purely selfish, when they're encouraged because somebody likes some small part of them, that part grows because in their selfish attempts to make their life better or to get what they want out of life or to improve their life or to feel good or whatever, they see that as valuable. And so they start to focus on it and grow that. That's why, like you said, your son learned empathy.
Yes, he did learn it by
Right.
patterning it.
Why would he learn it? Because it was beneficial to himself.
Absolutely.
Because he realized this is better. This is a better picture of how I want life to be. But there was a moment where he weighed it out. He was like, this ain't working for me. I got to try something new. So he looked at it and said, I'm going to try that. So he tried it, and then that's why I love the Word of God. For you look at these preposterous ideas like love your enemy, and you think, this is crazy. Why would I love my enemy? It doesn't make sense. I'm not going to love my enemy. But then you all of a sudden say, look, this ain't working. So, you know what I mean? I kicked the fence, and it escalates. Well, then you turn it around. You try this new thing, loving your enemy, and all of a sudden something de-escalates. Like it comes down a notch. And life got a little bit better all of a sudden. As preposterous as it seems. That's what I love about the Word of God, is it instructs us against our own nature.
At first, we think we are protecting our interests by resisting somebody who's the enemy. Because that's the person that's going to interfere with our life. That interference makes us the kind of people we need to be in the first place.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, if there's no cold, there's no hot understanding. Well, if there's no resistance, then we don't understand the hard part of
Cooperation.
cooperating. Yeah. Thank
And
you.
the value of it and the progress you make.
Yeah, there's no cooperation without resistance.
Yep. Yeah, because you wouldn't even know.
Good point.
Yep.
Point well taken.
I don't think we're going to have an easy ride in life. I think we're going to get more resistance.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm feeling more.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not getting easier.
I don't know, John.
Well, what I mean is, there's more resistance in the culture. There's more resistance now than ever before. There's more opportunity now for cooperation than ever before.
Oh,
yeah.
So,
meaningful.
As a public service, I want to announce that because, all right, so I went I went to the dentist yesterday.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Dun, dun,
well, no, I'm
dun.
saying, and everybody's affected by COVID. Everybody's been affected, and my dentist was talking to me about how, they've been open. They're open, fully fledged, fully on open, and he doesn't even know how he would let people know that he's open.
Oh, yeah, because they didn't know when it's reopening.
Right. Well, Dr. Curry's office in Willard
is open.
Open and ready for action. So, and I'm pretty sure that most places, most dental offices and doctors' offices and stuff like that are open. So,
do you think this may reintroduce competition to some markets where it was sort of just dominated before?
Morning, Sissy Brooks.
That there may be some positives about that.
Again, there are positives when there's something negative like this. When there's more resistance, you're going to get more.
Well, like insurance and healthcare. I mean, if you've got if right now, after being absent from it all of a sudden, then all of a sudden it starts to open back up. And these people say, this is my insurance and it sucks. Here's my experience. Somebody else says, I go through this one and it was good. Well, you start to get, and so some of that will just be the part of the character of the person. There's people who can't be satisfied no matter what, and they're just going to badmouth and trash talk everything.
That's true,
but as you start to, evaluate it, and you start to get more and more testimony of something, it starts to gain weight and credibility. And so I think that we may also have an opportunity that in our free market system where some things were sabotaged in the free market system, like requiring insurance. I remember when they made when they made it a law, you had to have auto insurance.
Yes.
I remember they were saying, prices are going to go down because everybody's going to be buying it. So and everybody's going to pay, and that'll make it cheaper. It was absolutely not true.
Right.
The opposite was true.
Yeah.
They had the freedom to escalate prices no matter what, to deny coverage.
Yes.
Whereas it used to be, if an insurance company declined to cover something that you'd been paying them to cover all along, and they put something in the fine print that got them out of it, boom, that word would get around and people wouldn't use that insurance. Right?
That's right. So the accountability wasn't there anymore. And the mandatory stuff really, in my view of it, doesn't really help.
No.
And nowadays, you got all these insurance companies that own stock and all the others, you know what I mean? There's some conflicts of interest in where the law limits that, but you know what I mean? There's no losing.
Yes.
When there's no way to lose, there's no real competition. You know what I mean? You lose one for denying coverage, you gain one because your commercial is so good. Whether it's true or not, you know that as far as insurance goes, that person's not very likely in order to actually need the insurance. So they're going to go through their life paying insurance thinking, I got great insurance, because they've never needed it. Right? Same thing with healthcare. I went and saw a doctor. Her bedside manner was horrible. And I'm in pain, a lot of pain, having weakness and pain in my leg, not able to, function properly. And her bedside manner, she acted like I was a nuisance, like I was
in the way.
Like she was mad at me for being there and needing her. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a doctor. I mean, I could have stayed at home and assumed all these things myself and not had the grief of having somebody look at me like I'm some kind of piece of garbage. Meanwhile, for the last 30 years, I've been paying $100 a month for my insurance. For my medical insurance. I've been paying $30 a month for 30 years for my, medication insurance.
That adds up.
Yeah, all that stuff adds up, and then I come in thousands and tens of thousands of dollars down, and they're going to treat me like I'm a nuisance.
Yeah, all you paid in.
And then don't get mad. They'll put you on the thing. You talk to the billing department, and you start cussing them out because you're patient. You go through and you're trying to get this thing done. Then and then finally you lose your patience.
Yeah.
Well, then all of a sudden that day your mailboxes are all full of all kinds of trash mail, and your message box is full. You know what I mean? They put you on lists. And I even had a customer who told me, "Don't piss us off,
hey,
because you'll regret it."
Said the P word.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for joining us on the Morning Drive today. We'll be back on Monday, same time, same channel. Be sure and tune in next for The Morning Mouth with Johnny Rooster and Pastor Matt.
Because you never know who or what will show up.
Followed by the Happy Hour with Dr. Paul Collins and his lovely wife, Nancy. So until then, my friends, God bless you and keep you.
Oh, what a ride it is.
We love you. My name is Matt.
My name is Jay.
Johnny Rooster.
And this has been The Morning Drive.